It's a pleasure for me this afternoon to give a keynote address on this very important occasion of launching the Fuse. The Uganda economy has done fairly well over the past few decades in terms of growth. We've been growing at an average rate of 5% for GDP. However, we have not achieved structural transformation. And this is because of a number of challenges that we still have as a country. The first one, we have persistent subsistence production. Most of our people are still producing for their own use. For example, by last financial year, we had about 3.5 million people still producing subsistence in their households. This is a very high proportion of people who don't actually have money in their hands. The second problem that we've been having, which somebody talked about, the issue of unemployment. It actually worries all of us, the issue of high unemployment, especially among the youth. It's a big problem. And when I see people here in the room, and most of you I think are youth, and you're talking about creating enterprises, creating employment, we are patting you on the back because you are going to solve a very big problem that we are being facing as a country. The third key concern that we have as a government is the high vulnerability because of climatic change. You've seen what is happening in this country. We've had a lot of floods, we have the landslides, we have the drought. And when you people talk about social enterprises, we are expecting you to help us to have some of those issues of climate change addressed, such that we can talk about sustainable development. And the fourth issue, which Mr. Luganda talked about, is the issue of informality. People in this country are so informal in most of the things they do. And people argue that they're not formal because they fear taxes. But you can't win. You can't win if you're informal. And you can't be competitive. And you will not survive if you are in informality in this global village that we have. So we are looking at a private sector to actually help us in terms of driving the growth. But if you have a lot of informality, then we can't have a private sector to talk about in terms of driving development. So I'm actually happy that Fuse does not fuse out like Madam Stella said, that actually it helps us with this issue of informality. Already they are giving you a format in terms of registering, so I think we are already on step one in terms of formalizing whatever we're doing. And for us, that is a winning card. And then, of course, another point which worries most of us is the issue of limited value addition. People produce things, and most of these things are in the raw form in terms of products. So if you have something which has no value addition, you can't really get a good price in terms of marketing. You can't be competitive. You can't get a good price for your product. And when you have social enterprises, I'm hoping that some of them, I've seen some of them on doing a number of products. You are going to add value, because without value addition, we can't talk about competitiveness as a country. We're not going to go very far in terms of enhancing our growth or development as a country. Currently, as government, we are pursuing a 10-fold growth strategy. I don't know how many of you have heard about that strategy. That is now the catchword. 10-fold strategy for growth. We want to multiply our GDP by 10 times by 2040. Right now, we have about $50 billion of GDP, but we want to make sure that by 2040, it's 500. So how will that happen? As government, we think that we can transform this country basically from what it is mainly agrarian to a middle income class economy. And we are focusing on 4 areas. We are calling them the ATMs. So what are these? Agro-industrialization. And I think most of you, I saw some of your enterprises there. Tourism development, because it has a lot of potential in terms of taking this country, which is said to have been gifted by nature. We have minerals, a lot of minerals. And then lastly, but very important, we have science, technology, and innovation. Those are our priority areas. Why am I telling you this? Because it's easy to work with government if you're working within the area of prioritization. So when you come for support, you must be seen to be working in an area where government is putting focus. And that's where we are going to focus for the next 10, 15 years. Those are the areas. Of course, plus enablers, we have what we call enablers, mainly development of infrastructure. Those are areas of enablers. So if you are in tourism and you want support, you'll get it. If you're in the areas of agro-industrialization and you want support, you will get it. If you're going to work in minerals or you are in science, I see a lot of Gen Zs here. You're looking at innovation, technological transformation, you'll be supported. Those are areas of focus for the next 15 years. The private sector has a key role to play, like I've said, in terms of fostering growth and development. And the presence of so many of you social entrepreneurs is a move in the right direction, because to us, we see you as private sector. You're not government, so you're private sector. So, and we think you have a key role to play in terms of developing this country, and I want to thank you for that. So like I've already said, we have a problem with unemployment. So there's a dire need for employment creation. We need to see value addition to various resources, mainly in the areas of focus that I've mentioned. And we are also looking at digital transformation and technological transformation. Why? Because this is an era of AI. You can't afford to be left behind. So we're looking at those areas, and we really hope that most of you, I've listened into your issues, are in those areas, and we can move together and make a change, because we can make a difference. This is our country, and we can make a difference. So for an economy to pick up wherever it is, and for everybody to be rewarded for their contribution in the different economic sectors, one of the key things that we always talk about is you must be able either to promote exports or to promote import substitution. So what does it mean? You position yourself in such a way that you produce products that you can either sell out of the country, or you displace some of the things that the country is importing. And this country imports a lot of things that we can make. So if you can actually make some of these products, you'll be doing a lot of favor to us in terms of us improving the trade balance, because then we should be able to import less, because you're producing the products for us to use. And we already have a policy: buy Uganda, build Uganda. Boo-boo. But why do we have issues with boo-boo? Somebody talked about it here in passing. Standards, quality of the products that you have. You know, people in Uganda think you can bet on people in this country. They have taste. People have taste, and they want high quality products. And one of our big challenges in this country, which is our undoing, we like to do a lot of fake things. I don't know why. So we must stop that fakeness in terms of producing poor quality products, because then we undo our own competitiveness, we undo our chances of actually growing. Because if you're producing flour, you have come up with so many products in flour, different types of flour for different things. But then somebody begins mixing all sorts of funny things in the flour. And of course you lose market. You lose market and you can't sell. So the issue of somebody saying, I had a lot of talk about UNBS. I'm sorry if these people are overcharging, but we must be certified. Why? Because we don't trust people's products. The only way we can have guaranteed quality of the products is by certification. So we need the certificates. I think the issue, I'm hoping that FUSE will work with UNBS to look at the issue of pricing, but we must be certified in terms of having the right products on the market. So to that effect, social enterprises must develop products along the value chain. I've talked about at least the priority areas. Get areas where you can specialize, where you can do a lot of products. And this ensure that you actually observe the standards. So this will be a win-win for all of us. It will boost your incomes as entrepreneurs, but to us on this side, it will broaden our tax base. We actually need a lot of money in terms of taxes, and this will be very useful for us because then that will help us in terms of reducing the debt burden. If government can get more money through taxes, then we would borrow less because we would then be having the money through domestic revenue mobilization. So ladies and gentlemen, the formation of FUSE to me is very timely. And they should be able to have a vehicle for strengthening enterprise operations and also for joint negotiations. I think you have a lot of negotiations to do, whether with other private sector organizations, but mainly with government. When you have an organization which has strength, then you have voice. You have voice and you can influence policy. And this has happened because, for example, if you look at UMA, you look at UZEA, they've been having these associations. They are influencing policy because these are federations that are known. They sit on the table with government, you discuss, they say this will work, this will not work, and we agree and we move. So I'm really happy that FUSE has come, and I'm hoping that it will be able to do what all of you are expecting to do. And for us, we shall pray that it succeeds, because if it does, it's a win-win for all of us. It's a win-win for you, but it's also a win-win for all of us. It's very important to have unity, because unity of enterprises will promote the exploitation of forward and backward linkages. You'll be able to support each other in terms of supplying each other products and also buying from each other. But also it reduces operational costs because of the economies of scale. You know, if you're very many using a facility, unit cost of production comes down. So if you come together, you bulk your things, it will become cheaper in terms of production, which means that you would have enhanced your productivity, and also it means that you'll be able to make more profit. So at that point, I really want to congratulate you at this point in time for this very great milestone. On our side, the government will continue to provide an enabling policy and legal framework. We already have a good legal framework. The only weakness that we have, which most of us also know, is the issue of awareness. This country has so many laws, enabling policies, but at times people don't know about these things. So we are working on that in terms of improving our communication. I want to just sing out one which I think is very important for you people. We've amended the Copyright Act. You are producing products. Please register your patents. Don't let people run away with your products. People are innovating, you're coming up with things, register your patents. We have a law to help you benefit from your production. Most people produce things, other people come and take them off and run off as if they were the people who actually originally came up with the ideas. Don't allow that to happen, because then you lose out as innovators. And there was a lot of talk about funding. Actually, there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of funding. It's a matter of knowing where the money is. I want to just tell you two programs which you can actually benefit from. Right now, we have what we call INVITE. What is INVITE? INVITE is the Investment for Industrial Transformation and Employment. And this program is basically aimed at supporting private sector in terms of manufacturing and export activities, creating jobs and increasing income. So anybody, we are looking at medium, small scale enterprises, doing things, if you are doing quality things that can be on the market, that can be exported, there's this support. So this project actually is a program with a lot of money in it, and this is under Ministry of Finance. You can Google, you will find out what it is, how to access it, and how to get help. So this program also, of course, is giving a lot of services, financial products to support farms, including business development services, financial support, which is what you're really concerned with. We also have the Grow. I see a lot of women in this room. If you've heard about the Grow, this is a big program, and this is a program of $200 million, basically for women, to support women businesses and enterprises at all levels, and it's for growth. So it actually supports women to move from one level to another. And this money is under Private Sector Foundation and also Ministry of Gender. So you can go to the Private Sector Foundation and find out how you can enroll. And you should really be able to benefit because you already have enterprises. How can you miss this money? And this money has both grants and soft loans. So there's a level where they actually give you a grant to push you to some level. And then there are some which are actually soft loans. So please, the women in the room, make sure you get money from Grow. This is our money. It's a grant from the World Bank. Please go and get that money and use it. So once again, I want to thank the Fuse team for inviting me to share my opinions, and also want to wish you the best of luck and success in whatever you're doing. I believe in what you're doing. I sit in that ministry, and I do a lot of work with civil society, although I'm a government official, but I support a lot of people who do civil society work. So you can always contact me for support when you want to have talks with some people. Thank you very much. For God and my country.